This video is for those who wanted to see how to do this problem using synthetic division so you don't have to use long division. Now technically, remember, synthetic division, the rule is that you're supposed to have just a 1x plus or minus a constant, and we have this 3 in front. Also remember that if we had an exponent on this x, we would automatically need to use long division rather than synthetic on this problem. But there is a little bit of a workaround when it's just when there's only a coefficient in front of the x with no exponent. So first things first, we'll set up our synthetic just like we set up synthetic every other problem. The first thing to note is that the number in the box is going to be a fraction. So just recall, I'm going to do this off to the side, that you're looking for your 0. So I'm going to go ahead and set 3x plus 4 equal to 0 and then solve for x. So the first thing I would do is subtract 4 from both sides. So 3x is equal to negative 4, and then I would divide by 3. So I'd get x is equal to negative 4 over 3. So this method I'm about to show you does deal with fractions, and you are going to have to deal with a fraction. So that's how we got that number in the box. Put that negative 4/3. So that's from that. Then please remember, don't forget about missing terms. So we are missing the 0 or the x, so I'm going to put 0 in for the x. That should go right here. So I'm going to put 6. I'm going to make sure things are spaced out a bit. So 6, negative 1, 0, and 1. And then we can do synthetic. So we'll drop down the 6. We get 6. Now we're going to multiply. So you will be multiplying by a fraction. A little trick I use with fractions, I usually, because if you take negative 4/3 and times it by 6, 6 is over 1. You just multiply negative 4 and 6 together, which is negative 24, and then you can divide that answer by 3. So I usually multiply the 6 by the top and then divide. Negative 24 divided by 3 is negative 8. You can also, you're welcome to just use a calculator, obviously. Okay, then I'm going to add again. We get negative 9. And then negative 9 times negative 4/3. Once again, if I multiply by the top, we get 36. Divided by 3, you get 12. And then we add straight down, and that gives me 12. 12 times negative 4/3. 12 times negative 4 is negative 48. Divide it by 3, you get negative 16. And then I'll add straight down, we get negative 15. Now, you might think you're done and everything's perfect. It is actually not. This is why this problem is a little hard. And a lot of people, it's probably better to just go straight to long division if you want to make sure you're not making a silly mistake like we're about to do. Okay? If I left my answer like this, I'd be completely wrong on this problem, except for the remainder. The only piece that is correct is the remainder. The reason why it's wrong right now is because we did the process as if we were actually dividing by x plus 4/3, not by 3x plus 4. Notice how there is no coefficient in front. Synthetic division, remember, is only useful when you're dividing by some x plus a number or x minus a number. And based on how we set it up, that is what we divided by. That means that these first 3 values right here, when we divided, did not get divided by our coefficient. So that's the last step you have to remember. It's not a hard step, but you do need to remember to do it. So we need to divide by 3 on all of those. And then you've got your answer. So remember, this first one will be our x squared because we're going down 1 by exponent, by 1 exponent. So this would give me 2x squared. Then we have a minus 3x plus 4. And then we've got our plus negative 15 over our divisor. And the reason we don't have to touch the remainder, I'm going to put that right here, is because you notice that I put the coefficient in front. I put it back in front. So remember, don't touch this part. Okay, it's getting divided in the divisor. So that's our answer. Now, one way to just double check that you'd remember to divide properly is just multiply the 2x squared right here. Let me do a different highlighted. If you multiply this 2x squared by your first term right here, by 3x, you should end up with 6x cubed like we did. Okay, and if you really wanted to, you could multiply this is called the quotient, by the divisor, and then just add your remainder in at the end, and you'll end up with this final answer. So there are ways to double check that you've done it right. And that's it. That is the process to divide when you have a coefficient in front.